Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This time we have Vice President Kamala Harris up against former President Donald Trump. So Harris is definitely a lot more unpopular than Joe Biden, enough so that it's like a 5 point difference in the wrong direction for Harris. So she's definitely going to struggle to beat someone like Donald Trump, and Trump might have a narrow edge just because of her unpopularity. She really doesn't have this most solid basis support either, so I do think she's going to struggle. But let's start off with the safer states. So Alaska, it's just going to be straight up safe red. She just isn't the right type of Democrat to win there, make it competitive. Colorado, still safe blue. Same with New Mexico, just barely likely blue. It almost as safe in this scenario. Let's see. Texas, I still think it would be likely red, not safe red, but Florida for sure safe red with Trump versus Harris. In Iowa and Ohio, just both these states are just safe red. She really isn't the right type of candidate to make them competitive. Plus, she's very hated in both these states, according to the polling. So she really isn't going to do that well there. In North Carolina, still, I do think she would have decent appeal to African American voters, and I think Trump only wins the state by 3 against her. And the state of Georgia, even though it really disapproves of Donald Trump by quite a bit, I still think Trump narrowly wins it against Harris, just due to her unpopularity and her lagging behind Biden so much in those favorability polls, which would definitely hurt her in a closely divided state like Georgia. Even though Georgia has so much Democratic trends, I could see her losing here, similar to how Stacey Abrams lost. But again, Donald Trump is not as good as Brian Kemp, which is why it's a tilt margin instead of likely. Okay, in New England, I do see her only winning Maine at large by a likely margin, while Trump easily wins Maine second by a likely margin. New Hampshire still goes to Harris. It's a socially liberal state at this point. Republicans weren't even able to win the New Hampshire Senate seat in a midterm that should have favored them. So even with a weak candidate like Harris, Democrats will still be able to win a state like New Hampshire against someone like Donald Trump, who is really unpopular in the state of New Hampshire. Nebraska's second, again with the Democratic trends in this state. Harris kind of lucks out. Plus, Nebraska's second really didn't like Trump at all in 2020. So she'll still win it by about a 2 to 3 point margin against someone like Trump. All right, let's see here. We'll head to Virginia. I do think she'll underperform Biden by quite a bit in the state of Virginia. The real debate is either it's a likely state or a lean blue state. I think it'll be about a 4.5% margin, so that would categorize that as a lean blue state, but it's nearly likely. But I do think she would underperform among moderate voters here because, again, she does have a pretty bad disapproval rating or just an unfavorable rating that'll definitely hurt her and among a lot of voters, especially independents. All right, Nevada and Arizona. Nevada, I think Trump will get a narrow win against Harris, while Arizona, it's hard to tell. Would Trump win it against Harris? I always go back and forth on that question because, again, independents have a hatred of Donald Trump, but they'd really distaste Kamala Harris. But I still think that this is a tough one. I think Harris narrowly edges out Trump here, just by a tilt margin. It's going to come down to a couple thousand votes, honestly. But I still think that the independents here really hate Trump, and that'll definitely help Harris. In the state of Minnesota, I do think she underperforms Biden a bit here, just because, again, populist voters really do not like Kamala Harris, like at all in the Rust Belt. So I think she only wins Minnesota by about 4. And while losing Wisconsin and Pennsylvania by both lean margins, in the state of Michigan, I still think she pulls it off. There's a Democratic trifecta here, so I still think she pulls off that win in Michigan. So a pretty close election, but again, Donald Trump would still beat Kamala Harris in the states that matter the most, like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. But I'll see you guys in the next video.